this one, whenever you see equation of the line, what form do I want it in? Y equals mx plus b. And what are we plugging in for? Our slope and the y-intercept, which is the point 0, b. Okay? Did they give us a y-intercept, a point 0 and a b? Right. No, they didn't. So you cannot just plug in a number at the end and say it's b. Does that make sense? If they don't say 0 and a number, that is not the b. Okay? So, first thing that we need to find is our slope. What is the slope equal to? Rise over run, right? Which is equal to? Y2 minus Y1 over X2 minus X1, okay? So, did they give us a Y2, Y1, X2, Y, blah, blah, blah? Okay, so let's label them. What do y'all want this to be?
X1.
X1, which means this has to be?
Y2, Y1.
Y1, right. Don't mix up the numbers. They're both ones, okay? Which means this one's going to be X2 and Y2, okay? So now all we have to do is plug it in, okay? So we have Y2, which is -1, minus Y1, which is -3. Just because it's already a minus doesn't mean you get rid of the negative. You just write it again. So minus -3. Make sense? Over X2, which is 2, minus X1, which is 4. Okay? What happens when you have two negatives? Comes a positive, so you have -1 plus 3 over 2 minus 4 is -2. -1 plus 3 is 2 over -2. Simplifies to -1. Okay? So, one thing here, if you have the fancy calc, right here, you can plug that in exactly like that with your little fraction button, right? And plug it in, okay? Or you can work it out, that's fine too. Okay, so we know that our m, or our slope, is -1, okay? Whenever you have a slope in a point, what equation do you use? Or a point in a slope, you use point slope, right? Number 2. So whenever you have a point in a slope, you use point slope, which is y minus y1 equals m x minus x1. And what are we plugging in for? y1 and x1 and the slope, okay? So you can use either points, okay? You can use x1 and y1, or you can use x2 and y2, it doesn't matter. I would pick the simplest one, okay? So it kind of looks like this one's simpler, right? So I'm going to use this point. If you use the 2, you have to use the -1. If you use the 4, you have to use the -4.
So it doesn't matter.
No, you could have labeled this y. You could have labeled this x2 and y2, and this one x1 and y1. It doesn't matter because you're choosing them, right? As long as those numbers are the same. If this is a 2, this one has to be a 2. If this is a 1, this one has to be a 1. Okay? So just because this one looks simpler, I'm going to use that one. But if you want to use the first one, you can every time. It doesn't matter. You'll get the same answer. Okay? So we have y minus -1 equals m, which is -1, right? That's what we found. And then x minus 2. Okay? How do we get rid of parentheses? We distribute, and you always take the sign. So we're distributing -1 to both of these. What happens with this negative? Changes to a positive. So we have y plus 1 is equal to negative x plus 2, because it's -1 times -2, which is going to give us a positive 2. And now what do? What's the last step? Subtract the 1. So we have y is equal to -x plus 1. Perfect.